This is the Mo Patton Sports Videocast with Maurice, Patton, and Terrence Smithson. LT360 is a health and weight loss company based in Brentwood, led by Coach Scott Oatsvall and Brent High. They have helped more than 700 clients in the last year get healthy, lose weight, and feel better with an all-natural program and simple approach to exercise and nutrition. LT360 offers free health and wellness seminars each week. For more information, visit their website at lt360.com or call them at 615-312-8244. Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe, Nashville's answer to fast, friendly, healthy comfort food. With a menu featuring assorted grilled meats, fresh veggies, and a dash of inspiration, Taziki's casual dining is perfect for lunch, before a movie, or a dinner featuring laughter and great memories. Originality is our nationality. With 7 Middle Tennessee locations, one of them is near you. Check www.tazikiscafe.com to select your nearest location and next favorite dish.
Want to play ball at the next level? You got what it takes? Then you got to provide a professional highlight video to coaches. Recruit Reels is the nation's leading sports highlight video production company, and they're here in Tennessee. Starting at just $3.99, Recruit Reels helps student athletes realize their dream and families afford college. Watch highlight videos and review video packages at recruitreels.com. Call them at 615-896-6076.
Hey, want to welcome everyone into the Mo Patton Sports Videocast. I'm Maurice Patton along with Terrence Smithson. We're heading into week 7 of the Middle Tennessee high school football season. We're out here at Brentwood Academy. They've got a big game coming up this weekend with Ensworth, part of a 2-week span of big games for the Eagles here. We'll get to this one here in just a second, but Terrence, you want to take us out close to your neck of the woods. College Grove native here.
Oh, yeah.
Big game just down the road from him over in Chapel Hill, where Watertown will be going down to Forest in a huge Region 4 2A game. Both these teams undefeated, both of them 6-0 overall, both of them 3-0 in region play. Watertown is the number 3 team in Class 2A in this week's Associated Press poll. Forest is number 5 in the AP poll. Not a whole lot more to say, but we're going to say more. But I mean, there's a lot riding on this ball game, obviously.
It is. It's a battle for supremacy in that region, and it's taking place in Chapel Hill.
It is, and I'm looking forward to see what that atmosphere is going to be like down there. I've never been to Chapel Hill for a football game. I'm going to ride out there Friday night, and again, Forest won this game 30-20 last year. I think it might have been Watertown's first loss last year. So big matchup. These two have kind of established themselves as the cream of the crop in that region. Watertown scoring 47.5 points a game. The quarterback, Seth Price, has thrown for 1,473 yards and 20 touchdowns. They've got a running back, Ty Love, who's ran for 855 yards and 11 touchdowns. Price's favorite target, Vontae Bates, 609 yards and 8 touchdowns. So they like to run it. I mean, they're pretty balanced offensively, but Price is the one that gets it all started, obviously.
He does, and he gives it to Mr. Love, and he don't have a whole lot of love in his running because he's running hard. Nothing but elbows and knees when he comes down through there.
And I'm surprised that you haven't talked about Rusty Stats, the offensive lineman for the Purple Tigers, who is committed to Air Force.
Didn't know he was committed to Air Force, but that man is nasty. I like the way he finishes blocks. And on the defensive side, he puts pressure on the passer. So he's going to be instrumental in this game on both sides of the ball.
Watertown giving up 14.7 points a game. They have scored at least 41 in each of their first 6. So Forest has kind of got their work cut out for them. They're scoring 26 and some change a game, giving up 5.5. So they're playing some defense out there in Chapel Hill.
Yes, Mr. Slayton Wild is going to have to go wild on defense in order to stop Watertown Friday night. Because Mr. Josh Seward and the rest of that crew up front, they're a formidable bunch on that offensive line.
Billy Clanton, the linebacker for Forest, 38 tackles thus far. But their numbers are a little bit skewed because they played like 1 quarter against Moore County in that weather weekend that we had the second week of the season. They call it a 7-0 game. I don't know if it's a no contest, if it's a win, or what. I think they're calling it a win, but they only play 1 quarter. So kind of makes their numbers a little off. But again, Forest number 5, Watertown number 3, both of them undefeated. If you don't have a dog in the hunt and you're looking for a ball game to go to, this one may not be a bad one to check out down in Chapel Hill. Another one worth keeping an eye on in Region 6-5A, we spent a lot of time on that region. Beach, 4-2 overall, 2-1 in region play, goes to Gallatin. The Green Wave, 5-1 overall, 3-0 in the region. Big Sumner County rivalry renewing up there. And you can't talk about Gallatin without talking about Jordan Mason, the senior running back, who's almost got 1,400 offensive rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, being touted as a Mr. Football candidate, and with good reason.
Yes, Mr. Mason is a very good runner. I like the way he puts one foot in the ground and cuts upfield, and he doesn't dilly-dally around.
Had 290 yards on 40 carries in last week's 34-27 win over Station Camp, 3 touchdowns. Fumbled it 3 times, kind of helped make things a little closer than they needed to be. I'm sure Mark Williams and the coaching staff up there want to get that cleaned up. They had a couple of pick sixes, though, in that ball game that kind of turned it. Dice Vaughn and Marcus DeVault each had an interception that they took to the house, and obviously it was huge in a 1-touchdown ball game.
Yes, it kind of helps your offense out when the defense is scoring points. It's like the old Baltimore Ravens. In the NFL, if you got a good kicking game and a good defense, it always keeps you in the game, whether the offense is moving or not.
Well, Mr. Mason is making sure that offense is moving.
Yeah.
On the other side, Beach rushed for 275 yards in their 34-7 win over Springfield. That 3-headed monster they've got back there at running back. Chaz Williamson had 128 yards and a touchdown on 15 carries. Alex Van Zant, 20 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown. Chris Peach, 7 carries, 58 yards, 3 touchdowns. This kid's making the most of it when he gets his hands on the ball.
Hey, he's making the most of it when he gets that ball. He's getting downfield and making it count.
Absolutely. Had touchdown. Oh, I thought I had his breakdown here. I think he had 1 for 32 yards and the other 2 were kind of short yardage. I think he's the guy that they like to go to in short yardage situations, but they, like I said, they like to switch it up. They've got 275 or had 275 against Springfield. Their 2 losses are to Wilson Central in their season opener and a 17-16 region loss to Cane Ridge. So this is one that could go either way, and obviously we're going to pick them here in a little bit, but always a big game when these 2 match up. Beach won it going away last year, 45-7. I'm expecting it to be a little closer this time around, but again, this is another one to keep an eye on in that region.
You're right, Mr. Peach is the bigger of those 3 backs, and none of them are extremely large, but he's the biggest.
So when it's short, when it's goal line, that kind of thing, he's their guy pretty much. Coming back into Nashville in Region 5-4A, Maplewood goes to Pearl Cone. Both these teams 5-1 overall, both of them 2-0 in region play, and Maplewood 3-8 last year. I think they're a little healthier this time around, and I think that's kind of making the difference for them, according to Arcente Broom. So they're playing pretty well right now, coming off of a 40-21 win over Laverne last week. Bo Hodges, the receiver, you've heard us call his name during basketball season. Class AA Mr. Basketball, committed this past weekend actually to East Tennessee State. Had a couple of catches for touchdowns last week in that Laverne win. So they've got some guys some athletes, obviously. Another 2-sport guy for them, the running back, Jeremy McDowell, who is the defending AAA 200-meter sprint champion in Tennessee. Had over 100 rushing yards and scored a touchdown last week. So they've got some talent in more than just football.
You're right. And Mr. Yusuf Ali may be the most explosive of all the people you just named, because he's got that quick twitch.
He had an 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in that Laverne win as well. So they've got some speed on the edge and some guys that they can get the ball to in those situations. Should be a big challenge for Pearl Cone. The Firebirds coming off of a big win last weekend against a highly ranked Liberty team out of West Tennessee. They won that game 49-14. Heard a name that we hadn't heard a whole lot this season, Marion Liggett, the running back, 10 carries, 91 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kewan Vaughn didn't play in that ball game. Must be nursing some type of an injury. Hadn't had a chance to catch up with Tony Brunetti. I'm sure they hope to have him back this weekend because you want all hands on deck in this big region matchup. But Jamarius Parker, who had Percone's only touchdown in last year's 4A state championship game when he went 91 yards against Knoxville Catholic, had 2 big plays the other night. Finished up 9 carries, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns. He went 89 yards for one and 63 for another one. So again, this could be speed on speed.
It'll be interesting to see who can control the line of scrimmage in this game, because Spencer Graves and those guys on the offensive line for Maplewood have been doing a good job, and that's why they're out to this start that they're in right now. And it's going to be instrumental for he and Lamont Ezel to open some holes for Bobo Hodges and those guys in the backfield.
Percone, 596 offensive yards against Liberty last week. They obviously want to try to maintain that type clip this week in this matchup at home against Maplewood. We got more when we come back.
John Mayer Builders proudly sponsors Mo Patton Sports Videocast. With over 1,500 homes built in Middle Tennessee, John Mayer Builders knows the importance of families and communities. They have numerous business awards to their credit, proving that John Mayer Builders is built to win. Like them on Facebook. John Mayer Builders, our reputation is building.
Express Employment Professionals, North Nashville and downtown, owned by respected business leaders Christy and Jason Patrick, is the premier employment agency in the community. Express is one of the community's largest employers, consistently working over 500 people at over 125 private businesses each week in Davidson County. Whether you are a company looking for the next great employee or a candidate looking for the next great job, Express is the employment resource for you. Call them at 615-313-3690 or visit their website at www.expresspros.com/InNashvilleTN. Like them on Facebook at Express Employment Professionals, Nashville North and downtown.
Staying in Metro, Terrence, Mount Juliet goes to Overton Friday night in a big Region 3 6A game. Both of them coming off big wins. One of them a little surprising. Mount Juliet knocked off Wilson Central, previously undefeated Wilson Central, 39-32 in overtime. And as we continue to talk about special teams, Wilson Central missed a couple of extra points in that ball game during regulation, and it came back and bit them. Mount Juliet kicks a field goal and scores late. Mason Earl scores the winning touchdown in overtime. Wilson Central's unable to complete a pass in the end zone on 4th down. Ball game. Mount Juliet gets out with the win. Again, Wilson Central had been undefeated coming into that game. Mount Juliet has now won the last 8 games in that series. So big win for the Golden Bears, who we've seen and kind of expected a little bit more out of than we had gotten to this point. But suddenly they're 4-2 with that win, 2-1 in region play.
They're coming down the home stretch now, and DJ Delfindall and those guys up front, Mr. Satterfield take care of business, and the backs run downhill. It could be a long night.
And speaking of the backs, they got a heck of a performance from one of their backs. Aiden Raines, 32 carries, 229 yards, 3 touchdowns. This is a guy who started the year as a receiver. Apparently he had an elbow injury that kept him from doing what you need a receiver to do, like raising his arms and that kind of thing. So they decided he was dynamic enough with the ball in his hands. Let's stick him in the backfield, let's hand it to him, see what happens. You know, necessity being the mother of invention and that kind of thing. All of a sudden you've got a kid going for 229.
Sounds like a good move. Sounds like he found a home.
Sounds like he found a home, and like you said, it kind of makes Trey Perry and that coaching staff look like geniuses. Meanwhile, over at Overton, the Bobcats come off a big 35-14 win over at McGavock last week, where they scored 35 unanswered after getting down 14-0 early. And we've talked about Theo Jackson, who started the year at quarterback, with Sam Mast, the sophomore who played catcher on the baseball team last year, kind of working in there at quarterback. Well, it seems as if Mr. Mast has kind of taken ownership of that position. This past weekend, threw for 156 yards, but he also ran 10 times for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Sam Mass starting to settle in there, and apparently he doesn't run like a catcher, because one of those runs was from 37 yards.
Well, most of the catchers now, not like Johnny Bench was. They're smaller guys now, so you know he's got a good arm if he's a catcher, so that should help him well throwing the football. And Mr. Jackson getting out in the open with the football can be a nightmare.
No question. Tavarius Travis, 33 carries, 170 yards, and 3 touchdowns in that Overton win. Overton's losses are to Marshall County and Franklin back in week 2 and 3. Other than that, they've run off 3 straight. They are 4-2 overall and 2-1 in region play as well. Mount Juliet won this game 24-21 at their place last year. So a big matchup in Region 3-6A with Mount Juliet going over to Overton. Looking in Division 2 AA, not this one just yet though. MBA goes up north to Pope John Paul II. The Big Red 5-1 overall, 2-0 in region play, coming off of a 21-10 win over Father Ryan last weekend. And again, you can't talk about MBA without talking about Ty Chandler. 26 carries, 196 yards, all 3 of the Big Reds touchdowns last weekend.
Ty Chandler, he's the man. I mean, he does.
That's with a capital T, capital M.
Yes, he is the man. 5'11", 185 pounds of pure terror if you're trying to tackle him.
Yeah, he's fast enough to run away from you, but powerful enough to run through you. So he's a fun one to watch. And again, MBA hosts Brentwood Academy next week, but they've got JP2 here first. They are number 5 in the Division II Associated Press poll this week. Number 4 in Mosey, lead 11. Be sure and check that out on mopattonsports.com. Last week's win over Ryan stopped a string of 4 consecutive 40-point wins for them, so they'll be looking to crank up the offense this week against the Knights. Meanwhile, JP2 coming off of a tough 17-14 win over defending 1A champion Nashville Christian. Jamal Thompson at running back, 18 carries, 68 yards, both touchdowns for the Knights. 224 total offensive yards for JP2 in this one. They'll have to crank up the output, I think, to have a chance against MBA this week. Look for Ben Brooks, the quarterback, who is a Memphis baseball commit, to be a little bit more involved in the offense this time around.
Yes, and Mr. Nick Scott on the offensive line, he plays guard, 6'2", 260. He'll have to have a great game on both sides of the ball where he plays defensive tackle as well, and for them to stay in this game.
Yeah. And again, special teams. Nicholas Zanger with a 19-yard field goal that ultimately was the difference in this one for JP2. So they've got some places they can go in a close ball game, obviously. Chris Bell at safety is a kid whose name we've heard a lot in recruiting circles. He's going to have to be big coming downhill in run defense, obviously. So this one could be a good one. Again, JP2 4-2 overall. They're 1-2 in region play. They're going to be challenged, obviously.
They will. They will. And that line from MBA, they love to get Mr. Chandler out in space, and all he needs is a crease.
He doesn't need a whole lot. So it should be a good one. So should this one. Ensworth coming over here 4-2, 1-1 in region play. Brentwood Academy's 4-1 overall, 2-0 in the region. Ensworth ranked number 7 in this week's Associated Press poll. Brentwood Academy's number 1. They're number 2 in Mosey, lead 11. Ensworth with a huge win last week against Christ Presbyterian Academy, 43-0. Nikki Clifton at running back, 15 carries for a 101 and a touchdown. The quarterback, Jalen King, nice all-around night, 104 rushing yards and a touchdown, 109 passing yards and a pair of touchdowns, both of them to Rodney Owens, the Louisville commitment as a defensive back. So wonder if Ensworth's starting to kind of round back into shape here as we come down the stretch.
Well, they had some youth back at quarterback, and it took him some games and some reps to get his foot on him, and I think he's coming into his own, so to speak. And down the stretch, it'll be interesting to see just how much improvement they make as a whole team.
Absolutely. Brentwood Academy coming off an open week after their 35-0 win over Baylor 2 weeks ago. Cameron Johnson, a name that you've heard a lot on the offensive side of the ball, had a big interception in that game against Baylor, getting more involved on the defensive side as well. Obviously, Jeremiah Oatsvall, the Austin Peay commitment, just dynamic on the offensive side of the ball. So keep an eye on him. And anytime Ensworth and Brentwood Academy play, it's an event.
It's an event.
Now,
everybody comes out.
Yeah, no question. Now, Brentwood Academy won this game 49-7 last year, so obviously the Tigers will be looking to keep it a little closer for one and maybe get a little get back for two. So again, always interesting when these two play. We got a couple more games we're going to take a look at when we come back.
Tzatziki's Mediterranean Cafe, Nashville's answer to fast, friendly, healthy comfort food. With a menu featuring assorted grilled meats, fresh veggies, and a dash of inspiration, Tzatziki's casual dining is perfect for lunch, before a movie, or a dinner featuring laughter and great memories. Originality is our nationality. With 7 Middle Tennessee locations, one of them is near you. Check www.tzatzikiscafe.com to select your nearest location and next favorite dish. At National Playmakers Academy, developing NPA athletes comes in threes. NPA develops its student athletes' academic, social, and football-specific skills. Next, NPA develops them for better exposure today, recruitment tomorrow, and college education through scholarships for the rest of their lives. We are proud of the outstanding athletes we have developed. We are more proud of the college graduates we have prepared. Work with National Playmakers Academy for developing gifted athletes into productive citizens.
Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers combine the best of bowling, games, food, drink, and fun. For all Middle Tennessee residents, Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers are the ideal destination for family entertainment. The safe, friendly environment is perfect for birthday parties for kids of all ages or business outings for adults who work too hard. Our friendly staff and fun atmosphere will help create those enjoyable memories with your coworkers, friends, and loved ones. Don't forget to sign your kids up for our Kids Bowl Free summer program. Visit us online at strikeandsparebowling.com or come see us in person at any of our nearby Strike and Spare locations in Donaldson, Hendersonville, Hermitage, Murfreesboro, and the Tusculum area for more details. We'll see you soon.
Terrence, Stewart's Creek lost their first 2 games of the season. They lost to Overton and they lost big to Smyrna. They've not lost since. They're 4-2 overall. They're 3-0 in Region 5-5A play. They've got a big test this weekend when they go to Independence.
They do. They were playing out of their league in the first 2 games. They were playing Class 6A teams, and it showed. They had some youth back there, but they've come on of late, and they're really on a winning streak right now. And the thought before the season started is that the creek was rising, and it looks like it has started to rise.
Maybe it has. Now, they've got a big one in front of them this weekend. Independence comes in 5-0 overall, 2-0 in region play. The Eagles, the defending Class 5A state champions, have now won 20 straight. And speaking of rising, Brandon Hines, the quarterback for the Eagles who replaced Andrew Bunch, starting to kind of get his feet under him a little bit and take advantage of that great receiving core that they've got. Landon Guidry, the Mississippi State commitment at defensive back, has shown up more and more on the offensive side of the ball. You're seeing Kendrell Scurry, the sophomore who is a UT commitment already. TJ Sheffield, they've got some playmakers in the passing game. And Hines is starting to take a little bit more advantage of those guys on a more consistent basis, which really fits into what Scott Blade wants to do offensively.
That's right. You have to develop the quarterbacks, and the only way to develop them is let them play. And you sometimes have to take the good with the bad.
No doubt. Defensively, the Eagles getting it done with some returners. David Demke at defensive end, still getting pressure on the quarterback. Hunter Dupree, still a solid force back there at linebacker, and Montre Steele making plays back there on the back end. Independence, they're, again, and I've said it for weeks, they're doing it a little bit differently than they did it last year, but it's still resulting in W's, 20 straight now. Stewart's Creek, Zach Long, he's a kid who might not look like the prototypical football player, but when you put him out there with the lights on, he gets some things done on both sides of the ball.
I liken him to Maurice Jones-Drew because same body type, same mentality when he's running the football.
He runs hard.
He runs hard. I love to watch him run. And his running will be instrumental, especially if the Haraway kid at quarterback is not back in the lineup. He's been out since they went on this winning streak, and they hadn't been passing the ball. They've been running the ball primarily. They only threw 5 passes all night last Friday night, and they were able to win. They started a sophomore quarterback, and hadn't gotten word whether Mr. Haraway will be back in the lineup for them this week or not. But if he's not, then look for more of the same.
Stewart's Creek won 19-13 against Antioch last weekend after previously defeating Franklin County, Laverne, and Columbia. Those are their 3 region wins. So they're on a little bit of a roll right now, playing with some confidence, but it's going to take that confidence and then some when they go down to Thompson Station on Friday night. Another game to keep an eye on in Region 5 3A, Stratford coming off that huge, well, as huge as a non-region win can be, I guess. Huge 28-21 win against Marshall County last week. They are now 6-0 overall. They're 2-0 in region play. Ranked number 6 in this week's Class 3A poll statewide. Number 10 in Mosey Elite 11. They've got Christ Presbyterian Academy coming into their place Friday night. The Lions 1-4 overall. That one win, though, is a region win against White House Heritage. Again, we talked earlier about CPA losing a tough one to Ensworth last week. They're just a young team right now.
They are a young team, and they're running into a buzzsaw with Stratford. Stratford was minus 2 of their starting defensive players last week. Junior defensive tackle Alexander Kelly didn't dress, and strong safety William Cruz went out on the first play from scrimmage in the game and never came back. And they still held Marshall County to 40 yards total offense in the second half. So CPA Lions have their work cut out for them.
No question. And Stratford, I'm sure Coach Fitzgerald and that coaching staff will remind them that they lost this game 34-18 last year at their place.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of defensive big plays in this game for Stratford, I believe.
So Stratford goes to CPA Friday night, trying to put some more space between them and everybody else in that region. So another game worth keeping an eye on.
LT360 is a health and weight loss company based in Brentwood, led by Coach Scott Oatsvall and Brent High. They have helped more than 700 clients in the last year get healthy, lose weight, and feel better with an all-natural program and simple approach to exercise and nutrition. LT360 offers free health and wellness seminars each week. For more information, visit their website at lt360.com or call them at 615-312-8244. Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe, Nashville's answer to fast, friendly, healthy comfort food. With a menu featuring assorted grilled meats, fresh veggies, and a dash of inspiration, Taziki's casual dining is perfect for lunch, before a movie, or a dinner featuring laughter and great memories. Originality is our nationality. With 7 Middle Tennessee locations, one of them is near you. Check www.tazikiscafe.com to select your nearest location and next favorite dish.
Want to play ball at the next level? You got what it takes? Then you got to provide a professional highlight video to coaches. Recruit Reels is the nation's leading sports highlight video production company, and they're here in Tennessee. Starting at just $3.99, Recruit Reels helps student athletes realize their dream, and families afford college. Watch highlight videos and review video packages at recruitreels.com. Call them at 615-896-6076.
Terrence, let's take a look at our pick 6. And again, hashtag #BeatMostradamus. Hit us on Twitter. Hit us with your pick 6, the next 6 games that we're getting ready to talk about. Send us your winners of these 6. If you pick more of them right than I do, you go into a drawing for a Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe gift card. 8 locations in Middle Tennessee. One of them's got to be near you. Terrence, we talked about Watertown going to Forest in that big Region 4-2A matchup. Who do you like?
Like Watertown. I think they have too many playmakers all over the field. And of course, I would love to see Forest win because it's close to home out there. But I think just purely picking on football, I think Watertown has the horses.
I think Watertown's just got too much firepower. I wouldn't be surprised if some kind of way Forest pulls it off, but they're going to have to do some things. I think they might even have to score a defensive touchdown, that kind of thing. But I like Watertown on paper here. Beach at Gallatin.
Gallatin, I think Mr.
Mason?
Mason.
There we go.
Mr.
That guy.
Mason, that guy,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
He's got almost 1,400 yards. Yeah. You might want to remember his name.
he's just going to be a little bit too much. He and Lamarius Majors, that big defensive end that had, they list him as a linebacker, but he's 6'2", 288 pounds, and he's cat quick. I think he's going to be a big factor in this football game.
I like the Green Wave in this one, particularly at home. So, so far so good. Maplewood at Pearl Cone.
Love to see Mr. Broom get a win, but I think Pearl Cone's going to have too much for him. They showed me something beating Liberty like that. I'm going with Pearl Cone.
Yeah, I think the Firebirds may be a little bit more tested to this point. I like Pearl Cone in this one as well. Mount Juliet at Overton.
I'm going Overton because Mount Juliet has burned me so many times. I'm going Overton just because.
I understand. I'm going to give them another chance. I'm going with the Golden Bears in this one. That win over Wilson Central kind of convinced me that maybe they're worth another shot. We'll see how it goes. MBA at JP2.
Oh, MBA. I think they just have too much all over the field for JP2 to overcome them this week, but they're coming up.
They are coming up, and I like what they're doing right now, but while they're coming up, MBA is there. Yeah. I like the Big Red in this one. And this game here, Ensworth at Brentwood Academy.
Well, BA is just too dynamic all over the field for them, in my opinion, and I think they will win this one pretty handily.
I think Brentwood Academy wins this one, but the thing is, in Division II AA, this may only be part one of this matchup. You could see this one again down into November, and it could be a little different. So, but I like the Eagles in this one as well. Again, hashtag Beat Mostradamus. Get us your Pick 6 picks on Twitter and get more of them right than I do. You go into a drawing for a Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe gift card. So let's see what you got. Be sure and check out Mo's 4 Down Territory on the website, Mo Patton Sports. See who's having the big performances, who the 2-sport standouts are, who the impressive freshmen are, and who's got the big arms. We'll leave that at that. Be sure and check out Mo's Elite 11, see who's number 1 and who breaks into Mo's Elite 11 this week. Be sure and check out the Strike and Spare Coaches Show podcast later this week as well. We're going to be talking to Arcente Broom from Maplewood. They've got the big game with Pearl Cone. Going to be talking to Brent Johns from Forest. They've got the big game with Watertown coming to town. So let's see what they've got to say about those. That's Terrence Smithson. I'm Maurice Patton. Thanks for joining us here on the Mo Patton Sports Videocast. We'll see you at the ball game.